It was just a few years ago that students and teachers took to the streets to demonstrate against the expansion of charters and other reforms proposed under several state-appointed superintendents. State returned schools to local control, temperatures cooled somewhat, and surveys show that Newark voters support charters as an important part of the educational mix here.
When it comes to charter schools are public schools and they are still managed by the New Jersey Department of Education in New Jersey. However, the key difference is they receive public and private funding. This has led to a lot of people being confused as to why we need them, what's the purpose, and most importantly, where is the money going? In Newark specifically, the schools are not the best. They've always had a horrible reputation. So when charter schools came into the neighborhood, it was a great option for those who didn't want to seek putting their kids in schools in different towns, cities, or districts.
It's meant to be a game changer for public education in Newark, New Jersey, a plan launched 5 years ago that might show the entire country how to remake failing urban schools.
It started with an unlikely trio: Newark's Democratic Mayor Cory Booker, the state's Republican Governor Chris Christie, and Facebook billionaire Mark Zuckerberg, who offered a whopping $100 million grant. Money was to be used to help implement many of the school reform efforts being tried out nationwide: boost pay for the best teachers, open more charter schools, and close the failing ones. But those games came at a price. The community remains distrustful of the reforms, and the exodus to charter schools has fueled a budget crisis.
Well, actually, I think they wanted, first of all, to repair education in Newark first, but they saw that they could create some kind of a model that could then be scaled up, almost like a startup business. There's been a big exodus, particularly in the most high poverty districts, which also are the ones with the highest proportion of African American kids. Well, the charter schools in Newark have doubled, the enrollment has doubled, and 40% of children in Newark now go to charter schools, and almost 50% of African American children go to charter schools. Those schools have performed a lot better than the district schools. And so the children in those schools are definitely doing better than they probably would have done in the district schools. As children leave the district schools, the money follows them. And
a lot of these charter schools started on the up and up. It was pretty great. Their test scores were amazing. The behavior was amazing. The morale was amazing. However, over time, people started sitting here saying, wait a minute. What is actually going on here?
Teachers and parents say they feel abandoned by their East Bay school. The principal of New Horizons Private School in Newark abruptly shut down the school amid financial troubles.
A New Jersey charter school abruptly announcing plans to shut down in 2 weeks. And this has left many parents scrambling as they try to figure out now what to do with their kids for the summer and the fall.
The first indication that they got that there was a problem with University Heights Charter School came by way of an email today around noon that the school was shutting down at the end of the month.
On June 1st in the evening via email that our charter for our school is being revoked. And this would lead to the closure of the school on June 30th of this year.
It's a shock the way it happened. It's a shock the way it's unfolded.
Roseville is one of 4 charters. School Superintendent Roger Leon has recommended the state not renew in what many are seeing as the reigniting of Newark's charter school wars.
The district's position is that upon review of all of the information as we have had them, that we don't believe that those charter schools should have their application renewed.
Leon cites a number of issues, including long-standing complaints about charters siphoning funds from the public school budget, and they're not enrolling their share of ESL and special needs students.
Frightening moments in the city of Newark after a student brings a gun to school.
Now police are investigating exactly how this happened and why.
This is sickening. These is young teenagers. They don't need to be going through this. How dare you send out an email when you should make phone calls? Everybody don't check their emails.
We're called to the charter school on Littleton Avenue that a student brought a gun to school.
It's very scary to send your kids to school knowing that it's supposed to be a safe haven and things happen. In public schools, you have at least 5 to 6 security guards. Now we go to a charter school and it's a disappointment when you have 1 security guard there.
They need more security. There's no security and there's kids sneaking through the back.
Now to an alarming discovery at an elementary school in New Jersey. Parents telling us a first grader brought a loaded gun to school.
Loaded and was a 6-year-old. Horrified.
basically trying to hold back tears.
North Star Academy on South 16th in Newark, horrified by the news that a 6-year-old child brought a loaded gun to school and was showing it to classmates as though it was show and tell. Fortunately, a teacher took it before someone was hurt. No comment from school officials. Parents, though, were emailed a letter that a gun was brought to school today.
Right now on the screen, you are looking at different people's stories regarding being in charter schools or working at charter schools or dealing with charter schools as a parent or a guardian. These stories are absolutely heartbreaking and genuinely ridiculous. Over time, I've heard a lot of people talk about how horrible charter schools are, why they would never put their kids in charter schools, and so on and so forth. Never really understood why until I went through this experience. Since I know a lot of you guys are not going to sit through all the parts of this story, let alone just this part, a lot of y'all got tiny attention spans. We're going to input the videos where I talk about the key grievances of this school. Then we're going to go down the timeline. If you are here from my Instagram or my TikTok already and you've already watched these videos, feel free to skip to this timestamp. I quit my job as a Newark charter school dance teacher in just 2 months. And I'm just going to say right now, I didn't expect it. As many of you guys saw, I posted on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, like, hey, I'm a dance teacher. I was super excited. And before anyone comments anything, had nothing to do with the kids. Loved my kids, still do love my kids more than anything. And I know some of you guys are watching this. Hey y'all, it's Miss R. Love y'all so very much. It had everything to do with my mental and physical well-being, administrative and organizational issues, as well as the illegal activities going on at that school. As a person that has very, very high standards in life and is very moral and ethical, I could not in good faith continue to go to that school every single day knowing that these kids were not being treated right. The staff and the teachers were being continuously disrespected. And most importantly, knowing that me staying there would not bring about change. The gross negligence that I, my coworkers, and other staff members have endured is abysmal. And it needs to be talked about. Many people send their kids to Newark charter schools specifically because Newark public schools are not the best. They think that they're sending their kids to get an amazing education. They think that they're sending their kids to get a better education than what they would get at a standard Newark public school. But what they don't know is a lot of these schools are operating illegally and, most importantly, do not follow many, if not any, of major state guidelines to be a school. Now, by illegal, I'm talking about no IEP plans for the kids that need them. That's legal. Most of the building is substitutes and not certified teachers. The teachers hired directly through the school are not certified. Illegal. No curriculums for most of the classes. That's illegal. I don't fuck around with morals and ethics because at the end of the day, all you have in life is your integrity. So at the end of the day, as much as I could have made a difference staying, I couldn't stay knowing that all of this was happening. And that's literally just a little bit of what was going on. Over time, we're going to open up and talk about everything in more detail. I developed sciatica from dancing on concrete floors 5 times a day for 5 hours a day. After I already addressed that concern before the school year even started, I didn't get any tools. I had to bring my own speaker for a dance class. I didn't get mirrors. They told me to order them, never came. I asked if the kids could get dance shoes. They said no. I didn't have any of the proper tools to do my job effectively. I take dance very seriously. I take teaching very seriously. I think the education of children is very serious. At the end of the day, I'm an influencer first. I didn't need to be there. I wanted to be there. If you literally just see everything that I was talking about in those videos, all you really need is that to make reports and demand to see your kids' transcripts, your kids' IEP plans, you have enough to go and raise hell, because a lot of these schools are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Meanwhile, they're getting all the funding and we don't know where the funding is going. A lot of people like to sit here and say, well, what do you expect? It's Newark. Oh, well, it's a charter school. Charter schools still have to follow rules. Just because it's Newark doesn't mean these kids are not entitled to a standard education like everyone else. Don't comment on my fucking video talk about, oh, well, it's Newark. Do not comment on my video saying, oh, well, it's a charter school. That is not an excuse for gross negligence whatsoever. Stop the fucking bullshit. Especially you guys as Black people. Just because you're comfortable with bullshit doesn't mean you need to train these kids to be comfortable with bullshit. These kids deserve better. They deserve more. And it's all fun and games when these kids become 21, 28, 54, and can't even ring up a register properly, can't even tell time, can't even do the basic tasks seriously, simply because we didn't take their education seriously. So I really hope you guys watch this video and share this video, because this is extremely serious. What up, everybody? I am the Mademoiselle, and this is my channel. And as y'all see, I got a mic now. Okay, I've always had a mic, but now I got like a mic stand mic. Like, let me just tell y'all right now, I might have to drop it, throw it, whatever. So if the sound goes out, désolé, okay? I am so sorry about it. But let me just tell y'all before y'all even get into the rest of this, this is probably going to be one of the most craziest videos you've ever watched. On top of that, I need y'all to share this. Okay, share this like you've never shared before, because the education system in America is literally in the toilet, and it doesn't have to be. With people coming here all day, every day for better opportunities, especially in education, there's absolutely no way the education system should be like this. And the ones who are going to hurt are us in the future, because the children are the future. So you guys have been waiting for it. Here it is. Surviving Newark charter schools, specifically why I quit my teaching job after just 2 months. I know a lot of you guys are going to be tempted to skip through, and do not skip through this video. You need to understand every single part to understand how bad this is, how stressed I was, and how bad it is for these kids in a general sense in the United States of America, okay? Do not skip it, share it, and most importantly, leave your comments down below about your experiences in charter, public, Catholic, whatever type of school, because I'd love to hear it. So, of course, we have a couple of disclaimers, right? I'm not going to say the name of the school, nor am I going to share sensitive information about the people that I am mentioning in this story. Specifically, not only for legal reasons, also because it's just not necessary. The story is the story, and the point gets across without saying anybody's name. For those of you guys who want to know what the network or the school is, if you contact me personally, I will tell you what the school is, so your child does not succumb to the same fate these children have. Keep the interactions positive down below, because at the end of the day, we're talking about kids and the education system. I'm not doing this for clout or anything like that. I'm doing this because the children deserve a voice. The parents deserve to know what's actually going on in these schools, and teachers and admin alike who had such a moral compass like me need to be validated. So now that we got that out the way, let's just start from the beginning. As a lot of you guys have known watching me over the years, I've always been into dance. I've been a dance teacher. I've done choreography. Like literally, aside from social media, dance has always been neck and neck with my top interest. I went to Bloomfield College for mass communication communications with a concentration in broadcast journalism, and then I got my master's in public relations. Although my interest was always in the arts, I was always told that doing dance in college or having a dance major was not realistic and it wouldn't get me anywhere. Hence why I went into communications. However, it never stopped me from being a dancer, choreographing, and just doing dance anywhere I could. Literally, I've been choreographing dancing since I was about 10. Okay, I didn't get a position to do choreography or anything like that till I was about 15 in my youth group, and it just went up from there. From high school to college, I've just always dibbled and dabbled in the arts. My first official job as a dance teacher was at a program at a Jewish school. Yes, a lot of y'all are probably like, a Jewish school? Yes. Okay, this was during the pandemic and they were not closed. They were one of the only few schools that were still open. So I got a lot of experience there working with babies. We were doing pop and hip hop. It was so cute. Those kids was bad though. I actually did do a story time about this on my personal channel. So make sure you guys head down to the link in the description or the pinned comment to check out my other channel. Hopefully I do remember to link down that story time. From there, I went on to a program that merged the ideas of STEM and dance together for women of color, since we all know that women of color are very, very few in that field. I genuinely enjoyed that job. I loved that job more than anything. However, I will say there was some issues that maybe I'll talk about later on in the future, but loved that job. Sadly, they went through a curriculum change, and that is why I was not able to go back. But through that program, I worked with a few schools, including a charter school like the one that I'm going to mention in this story. However, I'm gonna say right now, that school that I worked at last year was phenomenal. Okay, it was amazing. I love the kids, I love the staff, I love the principal, and honestly, before this experience, I'm gonna say right now, I didn't know that charter schools were bad. In terms of I didn't know the public perception. I didn't know that some people really had issues with their funding, how they get public and private funding and how they're taking away from public schools. I knew nothing about that. That school was great. Those kids were learning so many different things. They had an economics class for 4th graders. So I'm sitting here yo, charter schools are it. They're amazing. So before we even get into the rest of this video, let me just tell you, not all charter schools are cut from the same cloth. However, the ones in Newark are. I said what I said, I meant what I said, and I'm gonna say it again. Almost every single one of them are dysfunctional, problematic, unorganized, and they sweep everything under the rug. I don't have to be specific about what school I'm talking about because literally a majority of the Newark charter schools do exactly what I'm talking about. There's probably only 2 that are great. And I'm not joking. I'm not over exaggerating. As I go throughout this story, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. I just don't understand why a lot of people are not talking about this. And most importantly, why teachers, admin, and people who have worked in these systems just quit and don't report this. By the time you watch this video, I've reported the school that I'm talking about to everywhere that I can, to the point where I got a cease and desist. In any of my videos that you've watched, have you seen anything regarding the name of the school or the students? Absolutely not. People figured out what I was talking about. That's not necessarily my problem. I cannot control what people comment, nor can I control the fact that people figured out what I was talking about. So now that you guys have a brief overview, let's get into the timeline of events, aka the story time. Get your tea, get your snacks, get everything you need, because it's going to be a long one. So for this video, we're going to be talking strictly about the training. Okay, training. This story is going to take a long time to tell. It really is. It's going to have to be broken up in parts because although I was only there for 2 months, I could stretch this shit out. It's a lot. So I'm going to skip the, unimportant details, get to the nitty gritty, but absolutely there's certain things that just have to remain in the story. From being dance team captain to dance leader to doing choreography for events and being hired to dance for events, I wanted to take my skills to the next level because my last goal in life, or I guess my final goal, probably not because y'all know I'm always doing something, is to open a dance studio for underprivileged people and adults. I really want to do this. I don't know if I want it to be a nonprofit or whatever the case may be. However, it's something that I genuinely I have to do in this lifetime. So although I've had experience with children, adults, and seniors, I don't think I had too much experience with high school kids. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to be a dance teacher, preferably in middle school or high school, because I absolutely love middle school. That is my sweet spot. I had a lot of experience working with middle schoolers with that second company that I was at, and I realized I just love middle schoolers. I know a lot of teachers especially are terrified of middle schoolers, but I absolutely love them. But when it came to high school, I wasn't opposed to it. But it was yeah, I'd rather do older kids. I can't do the babies. Okay, I just can't. That's how I started, and they drove me crazy. I was I cannot do this as a full-time career. You feel me? So I ended up joining a fellowship program. As many of you guys know, I moved to South Jersey last year, around this time last year. I hated it. I did not like it. I was miserable. I was depressed. And of course, my dad ended up getting sick and he almost got an amputation. He still has his leg. He's fine now. However, at the end of the day, since he kept his leg, it's kind of terrifying to think of what might happen if something happens and I'm not close to home. I lived about an hour and a half away with tolls, 2 hours without tolls. I was literally South Jersey. I was in Pennsville, exit 1, okay, right next to Delaware. So I decided I was going to move back to Jersey. Since I have a lot of free time because I'm an influencer and I've practically streamlined everything, I decided, you know what, I'm going to do a fellowship program and become a teacher. If any of you guys have tried to go down that road of being a teacher by yourself, you understand it's pretty difficult. You don't know what you need and what you don't need. So joining a fellowship program helps you a lot, because the fellowship program will tell you okay, you need this, you need that, whatever the case may be. So I joined what we're going to call the slave ship. Stop laughing. It's not funny. I called it the slave ship. All right. And the slave ship put us on different plantations. You see why I called it the slave ship? You feel me? So initially I was put in an elementary school. What did I just tell y'all? I don't like them babies. I just really don't. I love all children. However, when it comes to teaching little kids requires a specific type of patience and skill set that I ain't got. Hence why I ain't got no kids. I love my friends' kids. They come to my house and I send them right back. But when you talk about teaching little babies, I'm not going to do it. You feel me? They had put me as a K-5 specials teacher. When I first started this program, I told them straight up, yes, technically I have a communications background, which is considered English. I don't want to teach English. I will not teach English. I want to be a dance teacher. Now, a lot of you guys are probably sitting here well, how do you do that if your background is more so in English and communications and broadcast journalism? So this is what you typically do. You go through the process of being a certified teacher. However, when you get hired from a school, you become endorsed to do the subject that you want. So that's why a lot of times you will see a teacher that is literally an English teacher, but then next year they're a history teacher, and then next year they might be a gym teacher. You can get endorsed to be a teacher for different subjects as long as that district lets you. And of course, you have the proper training and experience and stuff like that. So that was the track that I was on. Since I had a bachelor's and a master's, all I had to do was take the test. And then when it comes to New Jersey, they're always changing the requirements. There's certain things that you need. You had a GPA requirement, a degree requirement, and then passing the praxis, which is the teacher's test. And I'm going to get to that a little bit later. So it was kind of easy for me to just get in through the fellowship program. But of course, there's other ways to become teachers, and there's other teachers that you will find in a school building. So let's just get into that now, because I don't want none of y'all to get confused. You guys have to understand this now. So there's fellows like me who are in school while trying to become certified teachers. Let me just tell y'all right now, I quit that shit. That's how bad this shit was. Also, you have substitute teachers, you have long-term substitute teachers, and then of course you have teachers that are hired directly with the school. And then of course there's admin, leadership, all that. But in terms of teachers, those are the 4 types you're going to find: fellows, long-term subs, and teachers directly hired through the school. Please keep that in mind. The main difference is a fellow is in school while trying to get their certification. A long-term substitute is a substitute. However, they're expected to stay and are contracted to stay for an extended amount of time. It's not necessarily permanent, but it can be in a lot of cases, especially right now with the teacher shortage, which let me just tell y'all right now, ain't no teacher shortage. Okay. There are a shortage of teachers willing to put up with the bullshit in the school system. That's what that is. There's plenty of teachers. They're just not going to put up with the caca no more. And then you have regular substitutes. These teachers come in from from day to day. They might cover a class. It could be any class. It could be any school building. A lot of times there are agencies that are signed up with people who are substitute teachers who are then sent to schools every day to cover shifts. To be a substitute teacher, typically you do need a certification. However, there's a lot of schools that really don't care if you have your cert or not, but you will get paid more if you have a cert. A long-term sub, same thing. Now, when it comes to teachers directly hired from the school, there are occasions where you will see a teacher directly hired from a school that is in school to become a certified teacher. In this case, none of that was happening. None of that. These teachers were not fellows. These fellows were not teachers hired from the school. I'm gonna need y'all to understand that, because if not, you're going to get confused. All right. Additionally, when it comes to fellows, majority of fellowship pay the fellows out in salary. So I was getting a salary heavy on the, okay, heavy on the fucking salary. Keep that in mind. So when it came to the fellowship program, we were sold the idea that we would have mentors. We would be shadowing people a lot of the time. And most importantly, we would have a lot of support. Everything would be laid out for us. Keep that shit in mind. So I joined this fellowship program. They put me as a K-5 specials teacher. I was not happy because I didn't want to be in no goddamn K-5. I don't like it. It's not my thing, right? I was under the impression that we couldn't change it, okay? That everything was solidified. Backing up a little bit, we went into training. Now, when it comes to training was about 1 week via Zoom. And when I'm telling y'all, I was sick as hell. Like, I had the worst cold. I was falling asleep, but whatever, okay? Like, we had training via Zoom. It was really cool. The energy was great. We all got to connect virtually. And then the final day of training, which was that Friday, was in person. Phenomenal. Like, when I'm telling you, like, I wish, okay, I really wish I was vlogging that so I could show you guys like how amazing the energy was. Everyone was so excited, so happy, so engaged. Now, this is when things started to go downhill with the slave ship. You feel me? When we got there for training, everybody was so happy, engaging. You know, we had our little whatever. We had food. We had drinks. It was, y'all, a vibe. They told us that the week following this training week with them, we would be at our respective schools getting training with them. However, they said that something was going on and we couldn't go to training because the schools weren't ready. You would have thought I would have ran then. No. Let me just tell you right now, there's going to be a lot of moments where you're like, bitch, I would have left. I fucking know. I know. And I didn't. Okay. Because I was really trying to be positive. So we were informed on that Friday that we would not be getting paid the following week because there was no training. Of course, there was a lot of us that wasn't playing that shit. Personally, as an influencer, this is my full-time income. Okay. At the end of the day, I'm one of those people, I don't want to say I don't care about money. Like, I'm very serious about my money, but I'm not about to trip about shit like that. And I just didn't think there was anything to be said about it. But a lot of people raised their questions and concerns and they were like, we on a salary. We all signed a contract and we need to be paid because that's what a salary is. You get paid for going to work. You're available to work. And they always said, if you're available to work, you will get paid. Like, that's how this shit's supposed to work. But at the end of the day, it's also a salary where you're supposed to come with PTO and sick days and all of that shit. Y'all, this is about to get real funny. So a lot of people complained and they were like, oh, wait, no, we made a mistake. You guys are going to get paid even though the schools aren't ready. It was our mistake to tell you guys that you wouldn't. Whatever. So we end up having a full week off. And again, I'm so excited. I'm so excited that I start to vlog, honey. Like, this is supposed to be a fucking experience for me. Like, so at this point, I took it upon myself to tell them, like, hey, I don't want to be in no K-5 no more. I would like a switch because, like, I don't think I'm going to be happy teaching the little kids. And it's not a good fit for me. So they end up changing me to high school. Same network, but it's high school. So I was like, oh my God, perfect. A little apprehensive, but you know what? This is great because I don't have experience teaching high school kids for that long. So I was like, this is going to give me the opportunity that I need to see exactly where I want to start with my dance company. And exactly, the experience I need teaching teenagers. So cool with me. I wasn't the only one that got a changed assignment though. You would have thought that this just happened because I was lucky. No, apparently a lot of the schools just randomly didn't need us in the positions that we all were originally sent to. It's very interesting because just looking back at it, you could just tell it was a damn train wreck from the beginning. So first you're telling me they're not ready to start training. School is in 2 weeks. So when y'all gonna be ready to start training? Now you telling me all of us were placed somewhere and a majority of us had to get switched because they didn't need us in these positions anymore. So I literally told the lady, okay, we're gonna call her Tasha. Okay. Tasha is the person that was basically doing all of our onboarding process, training us and stuff like that in person at the New Jersey office. The virtual training was actually done like with somebody that was in New Orleans or something like that. But when it came to Tasha, she was in charge of everything. So Tasha called me and said that they no longer needed a specials teacher at that school. So I was going to be changed anyway, regardless of the fact that I asked for it. And a lot of people were actually changed. So training week. Let me just tell y'all right now, you don't got your tea, you don't got your snacks, get it. Get it. Because this shit, you can't make this shit up. Y'all do get training week, right? We all pull up to the school again. When I'm telling you happy as hell, like I'm telling you like bright-eyed, bushy tail, bro. And additionally, we didn't know who was going to be where. It was kind of like a Russian roulette. We didn't know who in our fellowship program was going to be there, where anyone was really placed, because when we all saw each other, we all had our assignments, but then they had been changed before that coming Monday. So we all kind of just walked in and saw each other. And ironically, we all already like interacted in the trainings, in the breakout rooms. So we were all super happy. So let's name everyone. Of course, you have me. We're going to call her Michelle, Catherine, Larry, and then there were 2 other people added to the mix that we ain't know. Okay, let me just tell you right now. For the first one, we're going to call him Malachi, and then there was another one. We're going to call her Linda. We were looking at them like, who the fuck is they? Like, I'll tell you right now, because they was not at our training. They weren't at the virtual training. They weren't in the in-person training. And from what we understand, they made this shit seem like, oh yeah, out of 150 candidates, you guys are the 20 or 25 that made it through. You should be proud of yourself. Like, y'all, ooh, child. So I'm like, did they add more people to the prestige? Did they okay, so we looking at them like, who are y'all? And when it came to Malachi was super quiet. Okay, like he didn't really talk to nobody. He just was there, and child, you gonna be there, you gonna be there. Like, we ain't gonna talk to you because you ain't talking to us. Like, it was a little weird. It came to Michelle. Michelle was just so ecstatic to see me. Me and Michelle connected on another level. Like, I absolutely love her. We have the same interests. She's more so into business and politics and careers. So it was interesting because like when she saw me, she was so happy. We was like, oh my God. We was making all this noise. And then, with Catherine, like I was already really cool with Catherine. I was in like all of her groups. So like, it was just a little vibe, bro. Like it was a little vibe. We was all like, oh my God. Like, so we're all sitting there like talking about our positions. And I was like, yeah, they put me as art. Yes, y'all. So I went from specials to art. Again, I put my foot down with that. Okay, keep that in mind. I put my foot down with what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be. And I was like, don't put me in no English, no humanities, no STEM, no none of that, because I don't care. I'm pop fella. All right. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm here as an art teacher. She was like, well, they got me teaching geometry. I'm just here to help. Like, anything I could do. Like, that's all I really care about. I care about empowering, our Black youth. And then you have Catherine. She's basically sitting there like, yeah, they got me doing, I forgot. I can't even tell you. Bio. I think it was bio. It was something. Chad, I know you watching this. I forgot what it was. But all I know is all of us were happier with the change in terms of like, 1, teaching high school, and 2, being at like I don't know how to explain it. Like, we were happy, but like it was like things could have been better, right? So now the principal walks in, right? I can't describe the principal, and I can't say nothing. All I'm gonna say is it was an eccentric experience. Okay, that's all. He had freeform locks. And listen, I love me some locks. I got locks in my hair right now. However, I will say when it comes to freeforms, there's a way to do it for it to look great. His hair was interesting. And then he had these interesting looking New Balances. It just wasn't great. But he was super cool. Like, I'm talking about like one of the coolest principals you would ever meet. However, in this case, we can't call him a principal. We have to call him a director because that is how these charter schools operate, right? So he walks in and he's basically like, hi, my name is we're just going to call him Mr. Bill. I don't even know. That's the first thing that popped up. So we gonna call him Mr. Bill. Mr. Bill basically, starts explaining who he is, his background about how he grew up in Newark. He's been homeless. He's faced so much adversity, went to college, was a tutor who became a teacher, who then became a principal. Like, y'all, when I'm telling you, the man just deserves a fucking documentary. Like, he's been through a lot. And I absolutely, genuinely appreciated seeing a director that actually was from the area, that was teaching in the area, who then became a director of a school in the area. It was very admirable, especially because for me, that's my story too. Like, I'm a New Jersey native. I love my Jersey. I rock my Jersey, period. And everything I do is in Jersey. That's the only reason I'm still here. I'm going to start my nonprofit here. Even if I move out of state, my nonprofit is going to start here. So we were all just like really inspired hearing his story. Mind you, again, it's only about 7 of us in this room thus far. Nobody else has came. So at this point, he pulls out our resumes. I gotta sit back for this. I know this is very inappropriate, and I tell you guys in my social media advice, don't sit back. But sometimes you gotta break the fucking rules a little bit. My guy brings out our resumes, and he basically starts going through them. And at this point, this turns into a group interview. I was so happy, so excited that I didn't even think. I didn't even think about how ridiculous this was until after the fact. Brings out our resumes and starts going through all of us one by one. Where are you from? What do you want to do? Why are you here? Nigga, I'm grown as fuck. All right, let me. So, of course, he starts with Catherine. Catherine was sitting right here. So she was the first one. It was Catherine, then it was me, then it was Michelle, then I believe it was Larry, and then you had Linda and Malachi behind. So basically, all of us, at the end of it, right, all of us got positions that we actually truly wanted. When it came to my turn, I told him, like, my background's in communications, but I've been dancing all my life. I've streamlined my social media business. So my goal is to get right back into dance, teach dance or whatever, because I've honestly been doing it for like 19 years. Like, literally, I've been dancing, like, for real, doing choreography since I was like 10, like, no gas. So it's like, yeah, that's really what I want to do. And he's like, oh, wow. Okay. So you'd be really good, like, teaching like a social media class or something like that. Or like, I mean, dance, right? I was like, yeah. And then you got Michelle. Now, let me tell y'all, Michelle is a social advocate. She's one of those people. She's one of those friends that's going to hype you up. Like, she could sell paper to a brick wall. Okay. Like, she is one of those people. She's like, yeah, she's super great. You should see her social media. She's really amazing. She could really dance. She's just selling me. And he's like, all right, you want a dance class? Let's do it. Now, let me just tell y'all, when it comes to being a certified teacher, the process takes 2 years. Of course, you could get endorsed to teach dance, and typically it takes a while. I was endorsed to teach dance automatically. I was happy as hell, y'all. Like, I was so like, oh my God, like, finally, like, this is what you get, Ivana, for being so damn optimistic and just not checking your P's and Q's. So he's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it. You want to teach dance? Let's teach dance. If that's what you're passionate about, that's what you really want to do. Like, I like the idea of performing arts. I think the arts really do help the kids. And I think it's really important that the kids get to dance. So let's do it. It's so sad that I went from ecstatic to depressed in 2 months. Y'all know I take my mental health extremely seriously. I went through magnet therapy, medication, and all of that to get my mental health back on track. For me to feel like I was slipping back into depression, it hurt. It really did. So when it came to Michelle went from like math to like teaching college and career services. Yes, y'all. Like, I'm talking about like a whole class dedicated on not only SAT prep, but the kids' future, how they would get jobs, what schools they wanted to go to, what trades they'd like to go to. And that is right up her alley. Now, when it came to Linda and Catherine, it was kind of interesting. I can't remember what Catherine or Linda came in as, but I know they ended up both doing U.S. history and English. But y'all, I can't even tell y'all that I'm very confident in that, because like they shit done got switched up and flipped so many times that it just didn't really make any sense. Now, Malachi came in as math. He stayed as math because that's what he's very good at. And Larry was Spanish 2 teacher. Now, again, all of us super happy, super excited. So after that, we went into a mini training lesson, I guess basically summing up everything that everyone else has went through. So the director, aka principal, does this training. And he's basically like, yeah, I'm sorry you guys didn't have enough time to basically go through this, but I'm just going to give y'all, some of my teacher moves and, things for classroom management, Mind y'all, when I'm telling y'all the whole fucking week, all we did was classroom management with the slave ship. I genuinely did not want to hear nothing about classroom management anymore. But I was like, you know what? This school more than likely does things completely different. So whatever. We're taking notes. We're talking. We have little role plays for the 2 hours. So after that, everything was cool. Everything was pretty chill. And that's when everybody else started to come in. Admin, leadership, teachers just started to pour in. No hello. No, how are you? No, nothing. This is something that you need to keep in mind for the rest of the story because it was a consistent theme. They walked in and they all just sat down. We was getting stared at like we was fucking circus ponies. like damn, like we was like the next slaves up for sale. Okay. And about an hour into it, I guess we had like a little break or something. It was like right before lunch. One of the teachers raises their hands and they're like, there's a lot of new people in the room and we don't know who they are. If this was Elizabeth High School, I would have beat the bricks off you because you can't. I don't know why that shit triggered me so bad. Like, comment down below if I'm over exaggerating. Like, that shit just like, it gave like, you can't sit with us energy. Like, if you really wanted to say something positive or welcome us, you could have did it yourself. You could have did it on lunch, came up to us, but it was like, we don't know who they are. Bitch, you don't know who I am today. So basically now the director's like, oh, well, these are our fellows for the year. They're with the slave ship. And yeah, welcome them to the team. Everybody starts clapping. I mean, I guess. Like, this was low-key ghetto. Like, yo, now I'm sitting down actually retelling the story, very ghetto. Now it's lunch, and then after that, we have to start doing team building exercises with these people. One thing I always hated about a job, and one reason I know for a fact I told myself I never wanted to go back to the job, is these stupid-ass group trainings and these stupid-ass team buildings. I hate it because it's so freaking awkward. Like, forcing people to interact with each other, it never works, especially in this case, because they were already looking at us like the damn plague. So now it's lunch. We come back, more training. So now we're going to fast forward a little bit, right? Over the course of that entire week, shit just started to go downhill. We started to mix, mingle, and talk to people who would talk to us, honestly, because I feel like a lot of them were very standoffish, but the few that weren't were also new, just like us, like freshly hired. And then we found out there's not enough teachers. Like, they were struggling to find teachers to the point where I would hear deans say, hey, if you know somebody that want to work here, just let us know, just have them send their resume and we'll get them hired. Nothing about certification, nothing about nothing. But at this point, I didn't think like, oh, they're just hiring teachers without certifications. I assumed every single teacher there was certified because that's what's supposed to happen if you're hired as a teacher, or you should be seeking certification. So as the time goes on, I will say between the second and the third day of training, we all met with our respective deans. So there's a dean of electives, there's a dean of humanities, there's a dean of deans, like deans, the deans. God damn, this school had everything but a damn guidance counselor. Like, I'm not even joking. There was no guidance counselors. There was no hussars or registrar. There was absolutely nothing but a director, a bunch of deans, and then an operations team. So everything else that you would expect to be at a high school, they didn't have. Wait. They had a nurse. Okay, they had a nurse. So after every training, which would be about 2 hours, maybe 3, we would meet with our respective deans. And this is when we find out that a majority of us do not have curriculums. Yes, that's right. A majority of us do not have curriculums to do our jobs, which means we do not have lesson plans. We have to create the lesson plans and keep it so important to the story. We found out that we wouldn't have curriculums, lesson plans, none of that. And we all just looking like 1 + 1 is not 8. This is giving 2 + 2 is 6. This is giving what the fuck? Like, what did I just walk into? No I'm so confused. I'm thoroughly perplexed because At this point, like, I'm thinking it's just us, right? Because I'm electives, Michelle's electives, and Lenny's electives. So we're all just looking at each other like, what the fuck they talk about? Ain't no curriculum, ain't no lesson plans. We got to make it. So then later on, we catch up with Catherine and Linda, and they're like, yeah, I mean, right now we don't have a curriculum yet. We don't even really have a book to go from. So we don't know how this is going to happen. Like, they're kind of expecting us to do all of this stuff. Slowly but surely, they basically started telling us like we're teachers. My dean specifically, we're gonna call her Dean. We're just gonna call her Dean Kaka because I really don't give a fuck. So Dean Kaka was literally like, you know what? I don't even see y'all as I don't see y'all as fellows or whatever like that. Like, y'all work here. Like, y'all work here basically. And honestly, I'm telling y'all right now, we were all happy about that. We was like, yes, thank God. Like, we're not gonna be treated like the plague, even though we already being treated like the plague. It's like, okay, like they see us as one of them, you know. And she said specifically, hey, if you ever want to be hired, let me know and I'll make it happen because, you know, I understand you guys are getting paid less. It was a whole thing. So when it came to electives, Dean Kaka was actually pretty cool. You're going to see why I'm calling her Dean Kaka later on. But she was very cool. She was the main dean that you would see. You didn't see the rest of the deans. She was the only one that would help any and everyone, even if they weren't on her team. She would direct you where you needed to go. She would give you the sources that you needed. If you needed something, like, she was the go-to person. She was actually really great in the beginning. So at this point, well, we were told that we would have to make up our own curriculums and lesson plans. This became a really big issue for, like, honestly, most of us. So we all went back to the slave ship and started complaining. And the real issue here is you can't have a fucking school without a curriculum. Now, you guys are probably like, well, it's just electives. No, it was not just electives. There were a lot of other teachers that were complaining that they didn't have a curriculum either. When it came to us as electives, Dean Kaka literally opened the Google Drive folder that she was sent, and everything was empty. Everybody else that we all spoke to was like, yeah, I don't have anything yet. I feel so unprepared, da 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 da. And to add insult to injury, none of them were able to decorate their classrooms because the school was under construction. Now, when I'm telling y'all right now, my best friend Sunzia, if y'all been on this channel for a long time, y'all know who Sunzia is. I was telling Sunzia about it and she told me to run immediately. As soon as I told her that the school was still under construction. And I just took it as, oh my God, it's so amazing. They're trying to do something great for the school and expand for the student. When you see red flags, it's not carnaval, okay? Don't be like me. All right, don't be like me. So now we are in a position where we all got positions that we truly wanted to teach and we truly wanted to inspire with, but we ain't got no blueprint. Ain't no curriculum, ain't no lesson plans. The school's under construction and school opens the next week. And there's still no teachers. We are severely understaffed. Just for electives alone, we were missing 6 teachers. And that's not mentioning everything else that was missing in other departments. So it was just like, yo, like, how the fuck is the school finna open that? So we call the slave ship and we tell them like, hey, yo, they tripping out here. They expect us to do all of this shit with like no resources and no pay. Because if you guys are not aware, writing a curriculum is a legitimate salaried position that is completely different from being a teacher. As a teacher, you are not supposed to be writing curriculums. You can be writing lesson plans, but as fellows and substitutes, that shit should be laid out for you. These are not things that you're supposed to come out with at the side of your neck, okay? Because first of all, as teachers, we already got hella shit to do. You got to grade, you got to do attendance, you got to call parents, you got to do all of this shit. And now you're adding the task of the back end work. No, go buy a fucking curriculum. Now, when it came to Miss Kaka, she told us, hey, if you need a curriculum, find it and we'll buy it. If I need a curriculum, bitch, you find it. That's your job. You're Dean Kaka. You're the dean of electives. Like, I'm not understanding what the fuck you're talking about right now. But that's not the fucking point. Like, it was just, it was wild. Okay, so we call the slave ship over. We tell them what's going on. And Michelle, mind y'all, what did I tell y'all? She's a social advocate. Okay, she was literally like our HR union. Like, she was really like speaking up for us. But at the same time, she was a very good slave. Okay, and mind y'all, let me tell you right now. She said I could say this, and we joke about it all the time. She used to call herself the top hoe. Okay, she used to call herself the top slave, and this is because she's been with the slave ship for a while. The slave ship has substitutes, fellows, and stuff like that, but this is the first time they're doing the fellowship program in Jersey. Their fellowship program was always in California, and I believe like down south, like New Orleans, but they never really brought it to New Jersey. So we were the first batch, but she's been substituting for them for a long time, and she's like, yo, I love them, da 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 da. I will say, you know, a lot of the schools that they work with is ghetto, but you know, I already knew what I was getting myself into. I will say, before we even get into the rest of the story, I have no idea why the fuck you would even know that some of this shit would have happened and stayed. But that just shows how dedicated she was to this. All of us were new to this. I've taught before, okay, from New Jersey to New York and all of that, but I never taught in a system that was as toxic and problematic as this. So we tell them what's going on and they're like a little confused. And I'm like, what the fuck is y'all confused about? Like, how y'all send this to the school and y'all don't even know what the fuck is going on? Like, it didn't really make any sense. So now you have Tasha. Now Tasha brings her, I guess, I believe she's head of her, whatever, I don't know, her head, if I'm not mistaken. And we're going to call her Jacqueline. Okay. Jacqueline and Tasha come down to the school and they're confused as to what we're saying. Okay, we're telling them like, yeah, they expect us to write curriculums. They expect us to do lesson plans. They ain't got shit ready. There ain't no teachers. This is problematic. Like, honestly, we're not asking to be moved because we all like the positions we've been put in. However, if they're going to expect us to do all of this work, we need to be compensated. Why the fuck they gonna look at us and be like, oh, well, we're sorry. Mr. Bill is not budging on the salary. The fuck you mean he not budging on the salaries? Ain't nobody here. You not gonna get a teacher to come here in a week either. So give us our fucking money. Stop playing around. Did you even ask? Like literally just like right on the spot. Like literally you had Michelle. Mind you know how all these schools have the, hey, get hired for like 65K, get hired for 61,000. Literally, Monica walked up to the sign like, this is what the fuck we need to be paid if they expect us to do all this work like teachers that are hired here. Like, get out of here. Like, she's pointing out the damn side. And we're all just like, yup. They are just like, okay, we're going to talk to, who's the principal again? Don't fucking play with me. How the fuck you don't know who the fuck the principal is? Well, no, like, we know because like that's his name, but like we're not sure who the new principal is. Last year, they had a different principal. You guys sent us into the fire not knowing who the fuck the arsonist was. Don't play with me. Don't play with me because at this point you're gonna start making me upset. At this point, I'm gonna like what the fuck you mean? So now they're like, okay, we're gonna try to find the principal, blah blah blah. So they try to find the principal. Principal's not available. This is a common theme. You never gonna find this man. I saw this man once a week. Swear to God, I could count on two of my hands how many times I seen that man the entire time I worked there for 2 months. You ain't never gonna see the man. Because this dude is insanely hard to find. You know why? Because he does everything. After the slave ship came to confer with us and try to get us to get a curriculum and talk to them or whatever, then we have day 4 of training. Day 4 gets interesting, okay? Because I believe day 1 and 2, we did see him. Into 3 and 4, we barely saw him. So around day 4, he comes and he's like, hey, I'm so sorry that I haven't been around. I'm going to get to you guys about the finalizations of rooms and classes. I'm just getting the schedules together. Why the hell is the principal doing all the schedules? There's 500 kids. Mind you, boasting about it too. Oh yeah, I'm so happy we have like 500 kids. There's so many kids this year, especially freshmen. We have over 200 freshmen. I'm thoroughly perplexed as to how school gonna open in like 4 days and you ain't even got schedules. Why the fuck are you doing the schedules as a principal? Like, this don't even make sense to me. So we are kind of just looking like, okay, like that's kind of interesting. Like, but we kind of thought that he had it handled because he didn't act like he needed help. He didn't say he needed help. He didn't seem like he needed help. So everything just went on, right? So the entire week we're coming in the morning around 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. We have training by ourselves with whoever. Most of the time it was Mr. Bill, but then slowly but surely ended up being like we came in and it was just independent time, okay, from 8 to 10, or sometimes we would have to meet with our respective deans. I'm telling y'all, there was so much free time and so much time wasted during this training. It's not even funny. And I need y'all to keep this shit in mind. Friday comes and we all get a schedule and everyone gets their room assignments. But what makes things worse is school's supposed to start Monday and none of the teachers have gotten to decorate their rooms. All of us, on the other hand, have been assigned rooms. Every single one of us had a room with the exception of Catherine and Linda, who I believe had to share a room with another teacher that was already working there. But all of us got our own rooms. Okay. Me, Michelle, Malachi, or Larry. Yeah, Larry. That's what I called him. We all had our own rooms. And I'm not going to hold you. Since there were some teachers that literally been there for years, which I don't fucking understand. They're probably brainwashed, whatever. Since there was a lot of people and were there for years and had to share a room, I know for a fact this was a huge point of contention. A lot of the deans would come in like, okay, let me show you where your room is, Like, you could just see the energy. It's like the eyes were burning into our skulls. You feel me? Like, and I was just like, oh, we get rooms? Like, I didn't really expect it. I didn't expect to get a room. I thought, okay, I'll probably be teaching dance in the gym. But then they took me to the gym and I was like, I'm not doing it here. I absolutely refuse to teach. No, it was hot. Like, I'm talking about like Haiti hot. Like, it was very humid. It was very like, the kids will pass out trying to do anything in here. And then I looked at the speakers. I was like, oh, can I use one of the speakers for the class? And she said, yes. Okay, this is Dean Kaka. She said, yeah, you're going to have everything you need. We just have to find a classroom for you. So then we start touring the building, which again is still under construction. And we start looking at the newer classrooms on the first level. Electives was supposed to be on the first level. So essentially we walk in and we see this one classroom that's just clear. Beautiful class. Would have been a good dance room, but it was too close to the office. So then we start walking some more. We turn the hallway and there's a classroom all the way in the back. She's like, you know what? This would be perfect. I was like, yeah, this is actually really, really great. She's like, okay, so anything you need, just put it in the list, start drafting it. Let me know what you need. Send it to me and I'll have operations make the order. Keep that shit in mind. I saw my classroom maybe Wednesday or Thursday. And it's crazy because all of us were on the same floor because most of us were electives. And then we had Linda, Malachi, and Catherine who were like second and third floor. So it was pretty cool that we practically all got our own classrooms. And honestly, I started ordering, okay? I started throwing it in the bag. So happy. I was like, oh my God, like this is great. I don't even have to spend money on teacher supplies. Now, let me just say, I would have absolutely no problem spending money on teacher supplies if I knew I had to spend money on teacher supplies. If you guys know me, okay, y'all been watching me for years, y'all know I don't like doing half-ass shit. I don't like doing things or being places where everything is just half finished. So if they would have told me like, hey, we're not going to have time to order your stuff, I would have ordered my stuff. I'm getting ahead of myself. So Friday rolls around, right? This is literally our last day of training. And basically we're just going through how the first day should be, how every day should be. And we are all given different positions. Okay. So they place me in one of the hallways. They place some people like at the door. This is all to make sure that the kids don't roam the hallways, skip class. They all know where they're supposed to go. It's kind of weird. Like we kind of did like a mock thing with all the teachers. Like all of us were placed somewhere. I was placed in a stairwell. Michelle was placed in a stairwell. Like we all had different places and we were all supposed to be there every single morning at this post. There were some people that were at arrival duty, which was like in the annex, which was extremely fucking hot. And it was a very uncomfortable situation. And it was kind of tiring because it was a lot of stairs. We had to come back up, come back down numerous times because things weren't done correctly or whatever the case may be. And also, if you were to have 5 classes, you did not have to do this duty. Keep that in mind, okay? Also, if you had a first period, I believe you weren't supposed to do that duty at all. So I was doing the duties because at the time I didn't have a first period and I was cool with that. It was whatever. Keep that in mind. Also, keep in mind that this is Friday. At least 2 or 3 days out of the week, we were able to go home early. I got home at like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever, because there was nothing else to do. Okay. So as we're going through all of this, we've gotten our schedules. We're going through the duties. Everybody's ordering what they need. At the end of the day, I asked Dean Kaka, like, hey, when is my stuff going to get here? She gonna say, it's not going to get here anytime soon. Why would you tell me to order it then? Why would you? Because now it's Friday. Shit is Monday and I don't have time to order anything for my classroom. And basically you have these kids coming into a jail cell. I swear to God, my classroom looked like a freaking, like a sane asylum. White brick walls, white walls. Like it just looks sterile. It is just like, you want me to teach a dance class with nothing in there? Like not even mirrors. Like my bare minimum is mirrors. Like, can I at least get some dance shoes? Like that will come over. And she said, no, they're not going to pay for that. Ballet bars, she's like, yeah, it's going to take a while to come in. So I'm kind of annoyed at this point. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's just me, but nope, it happened to practically everyone that I spoke to where they were like, yeah, I ordered stuff, but they said it's not going to come. And then you had teachers that did have shit that weren't allowed to go in their rooms because the rooms were, being constructed. So they had the rush at the end of the school day, mind you, past school hours. Okay. The shift is 7:30 to 4. We were there from 8 to 4. You had teachers that had to stay late to decorate their classrooms because they weren't able to do it during the week. When it came to training week, it was just a small glimpse of what was to come. Us as fellows, we thought that a lot of this was happening simply because it was just us as fellows. Like, okay, maybe we have to earn certain things. Like, we didn't think it was that deep. But then upon speaking to other teachers, we realized, oh, nah, like it was everybody. It was everybody that was asked to order things, but that they weren't going to get it. And then we started speaking to teachers about their salary. Yeah, we did, because we were all so upset that we really were out here throughout the week writing up lesson plans and revising curriculums. Now, when it comes to revising curriculums, that was only me because I found my own curriculum from the Newark Public Schools website. Like I had found like a dance curriculum. I think it was it for arts? I don't remember, but it was outdated as well. It was 2022. I'm like, you know what? It's 2 years old, but I'll work with it. So I pulled some things from there. Luckily, like when I'm telling you, it took me days to find that. I believe I finally found it on like Thursday or whatever. When it came to Larry, he was sitting here trying to find sources, trying to find a curriculum, and he couldn't find anything. Luckily, he worked with another teacher. She was a Spanish 1 teacher. I love her so very much, bro. Like, still talk to her to this day. We're just gonna call her Miss Patty. Okay. Miss Patty was trying to work with him, to get things together. She had her old curriculum to work from, but honestly, she's probably the only one that had something, and she had to go find that herself. She found it. She was working from it, and it worked for her. When it came to Larry, he was extremely excited to teach. However, every day you could just see the excitement turn to despair because he just was not prepared. He literally was like, I don't even know what type of kids are coming into my class. And it's true, because every single time he asked the question, they couldn't answer it. So he would be like, okay, are the kids coming to me already well-versed in Spanish? Because if you're taking Spanish too, that means you really know the basics and you should be able to speak simple phrases. And they literally would sit there and look at him like, yeah, we all know. And we all sitting there like, the fuck you mean? Like, he didn't have teaching in a school type of experience, but he had experience teaching Spanish to adult. So not only is this different because he's teaching kids, but it's different because you don't know what type of level these people are going to be on. You're calling it Spanish too, but you don't know what level these kids are really on. Keep that in mind. So at this point, he's just getting real anxious. I'm overwhelmed because I kind of started to try to make my own thing. Then I found the curriculum from Newark from 2022. So I was trying to pull from that. But then I get told that these kids have zero dance experience. Like, they don't know their right foot from their left foot. I'm like, I'm in Newark. You telling me these kids don't one leg get back all day? They don't sexy walk? Like, I'm confused. And they're like, they might be able to do that, but they can't do nothing else. And I'm like, I didn't believe it. But y'all, I was in for a ride. Okay, they were absolutely correct. The curriculum that I found for dance was kind of like, it was for people that already had rhythm. So at that point, I had to incorporate what is dance, what is rhythm, what is coordination, what is flexibility, I had to start from bottom level. Then you had Linda and Catherine, who were interchangeably teaching history and English. I know for a fact Catherine was teaching history and English by the time the week was supposed to start. However, I don't remember what in the world Linda was doing. I will say that Catherine was extremely stressed because she's like, I have no idea how I'm going to teach like both these subjects at the same time. They gave her 2 English, 2 history. And it was just like, yeah, I think you should tell them that it doesn't really make sense because it is a lot. Like, to switch your mind from teaching English to history and then you're grading papers. Like, it's a lot. So eventually what ended up happening is I believe she just ended up teaching only history while Linda ended up switching to bio. Literally last minute. And it made more sense because she really wanted to be a bio teacher. Catherine was more so into humanities. So it all worked out. I forgot to add, y'all. So as Crystal was being switched to history, she did have a co-teacher. Now, the funny thing about this is the co-teacher didn't even know she was the co-teacher. She thought she was the lead teacher. However, the school took it upon themselves to make Catherine the lead teacher and make the teacher that was the history teacher the entire time the co-teacher. And she didn't know she was going to be the co-teacher until literally randomly towards the end of training, there was a conversation going on and they were like, oh, well, we don't know why, you're talking about this and we don't know. Mind you, she decorated a whole classroom. We don't know why you decorated the classroom because you're not going to be the lead teacher. Catherine is. Shiesty. These people are shiesty. Apparently, sis started crying and everything. Like, she was just like hoopling and hollering. Like, she was so upset, as she should be, because she's been the history teacher for years. She's one of the teachers that's been there for years. And this is something you guys have to keep in mind, because this is what they do to people all the time. This network is notorious for demoting people. Because why would you put a fellow as the lead teacher and then put the experienced teacher as the co-teacher? And I know people might be like, well, maybe she wasn't certified. None of them certified, so that ain't gonna be it. However, by the end of the week, we had to call the slave ship again. And you guys are probably like, what the like, y'all was just bothering these people. No, the fuck we wasn't. Nothing was ready. Okay, nothing. Like, when I'm telling y'all, nothing. Like, it just didn't make sense. We were like, how the fuck is school finna open? Like, I just didn't understand. Like, I knew what I was doing. Okay, I was teaching 4 classes and I had freshmen. Okay, I had all the freshmen. I had a second. Yes. Okay, so I believe I had a second, third, fifth, and sixth, or I think it was a second, fourth. Okay, second, fourth, sixth, and seventh. It was something like that. So I was like, okay, not bad. So, I kept my duties. I was like, it's not horrible. But I was very concerned because there's no mirrors. The floors were hard as fuck. It was just, there wasn't anything in there, not even decoration to increase the morale. So I was just like, yeah, I'm kind of nervous. Then you have Michelle, who she loved her position on the slave ship. Like, she really did. But she also had 2 jobs. So since she was doing college career readiness, she also had an office over across the street. So there was 2 parts, well, technically like 4 parts of the school. They had the garages, they had the annex, they had the main school building, and then they had across the street, which was the college career readiness building. So she was mostly over there, and she didn't know anything that was really going on. And a lot of us kind of thought it was on purpose, and we literally made it a running joke because every single time we had a meeting or something, she just wasn't there and she wasn't notified. And that kind of happened a lot of the time, where we would have meetings or we would have like a professional development with whoever, because most of the training was like people from leadership, the nurse or whatever, coming in to tell us like, hey, like, this is what you do. These are the protocols. This is who you call. But we didn't have emails with the school. We didn't have laptops with the school. So we were not given this information afterwards. All we could do was write notes on it. And I'm talking about like these slides was long as shit. So it's like, how are we supposed to keep track of all this information? We kept getting told like, hey, we're going to send it to you. We're going to send it to you. But no one ever really sent us anything up until like Friday. And basically we got the PD for like Thursday and Friday. But everything from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday was like never sent. So a lot of us were kind of out of the loop. Like, it was just absolutely insane. And then when it came to like the nurse PD, I feel like that's when I started realizing like, yeah, this school's really doing shit that don't even make sense. Because basically she got to a part where she was talking about CPR, right? And how, even if you don't have CPR certifications, which, mind you, she asked everyone to raise their hands, and absolutely none of the teachers were trained in CPR. She was saying, even if you don't have the certification to administer CPR, you should still do it because, you can't kill a dead person. Excuse me, 911, I'd like to make a report. And get this, the only people who were CPR certified were all fellows. It was all of us. None of that fucking staff had a CPR certification. So then they're like, oh, well, that means that all of you guys, if there's ever a crisis, you guys are going to be the first ones running to the first aid. What the fuck are you guys doing? What would y'all do if it wasn't for us? Like, are y'all, like, I'm so, like, how the fuck did all of y'all get hired here? Aren't teachers supposed to be CPR certified? Like, I don't think that's a legal thing, but I feel like that's something that should be a thing, especially these days with all of like the food allergies and just the different types of foods that are available that kids bring to school, or kids are eating during the school day that the school provides. Anyone could choke. Like, there's so many things that could happen. I'm just like, how are none of y'all CPR certified in Newark at that? So I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna shut up because like, it was bizarre. Like, it was extremely bizarre. And then what really put the icing on the cake was when they had a parent come in and drag us. Like, guys are probably like, Ivana, what type of training week did you have? I'm back on that. I really should have fucking ran for the hills at the training because this shit was crazy. One of the days, so I believe it was Thursday. It had to be towards the end. It was either Thursday, Friday. It could have been even Wednesday, but I know it wasn't the beginning. It was Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. On one of those days, they had a parent come in. Now, this parent specifically has continuously had issues with Mr. Bill. Mr. Bill has been in other networks, has been a principal at middle schools, elementary, a teacher, whatever. So apparently he and this parent have always had friction. So he thought it made sense to bring this teacher in during our PD for parent teacher interactions. Now, they expected us to make 4 phone calls a week to any kid on our roster. I was never doing that shit. None of us were ever doing that shit. We all looked at each other like, why the fuck would you expect us to do any of that shit? Are you paying for our phone bill? Because what are you even talking about? Like, is there even school phones? Because we haven't really seen them yet. Yeah, there was actually school phones. But it was funny because Michelle raised her hand and Michelle was like, are you guys going to be paying for our phone bill? Are you guys going to be reimbursing us? And like I laughed. I'm the worst person. I'm the type of person like, something happened, I'm going to be in the corner. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. Like, that was me. Like, I'm just laughing. We all just looking like, bruh. And it got to a point where I'm not going to lie. A lot of the teachers I know for a fact were very annoyed with Michelle because she was always asking questions, always advocating, and most importantly, always asking shit that everybody was afraid to ask. So she literally said like, hey, are we going to be reimbursed? I don't see what's so funny. I don't know why y'all looking at me, but because you expecting us to make these phone calls on our phones 4 times a week, which means parents are going to be calling us, texting us all times of the day and night when we're not contracted to work at that time, especially for us as fellows. Let her cook. She's not wrong. She's not wrong. So now when the parent comes in and basically starts saying what she's saying, it's just like, what is really going on at this school? So this parent basically, again, like I said, had a long history with Mr. Bill. She said that one of her children, which was her oldest, was supposed to graduate last year, however, didn't due to the negligence at the school. The kid had IEP plan that was signed off on without her permission. He was not given the support that he needed to succeed. And because of this, he had to get a GED because she pulled him out of school because she felt like the treatment he endured was unfair. I messed that part up. Technically, okay, what happened was because of the school's negligence, he was not able to graduate on time, so she pulled him out. Very odd to me that she also said she had a daughter at that school that would actually stay at that school. However, when it came to her son and her overall experience with the network, she didn't believe in the system anymore. Now, this is the shit that I don't understand about y'all as parents, for real, for real. Why the fuck would you say that you had a bad experience with a school with one of your kids and then leave your other kid there? I believe her kid was like a sophomore of some sort. She was a sophomore or junior. I know she was like, yeah, like my daughter is going to stay, but you know, as for the system, I don't believe in it. And my son, you know, like I ain't gonna lie to you, she had an attitude. It was very nice, nasty. Like the way she was talking, it was like, why would you bring this lady here? She spoke for maybe 15 to 20 minutes. And she basically literally said like, yup, I used to hate Mr. Bill. I cussed out Mr. Bill. Mr. Bill really used to get on my nerves. And I felt like my child was not getting what he needed in order to succeed. So I pulled him out. And, you know, I know that a lot of y'all teachers in here, you know, you're not going to give the child the opportunity to, you know, do what they need to do and explain themselves the way they should. All you guys do is you call the parents and you blame the parents. So is this supposed to be a positive professional development? Because I'm not developing anything but a lot of annoyance. Part of me was just sitting there like, something about what she's saying sounds extremely valid. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like when I first heard it all, I kind of wrote her off because it was just like, you just sound like a disgruntled parent. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know why they would bring her here. And I don't know, like, it was just very strange. You already know, I already told y'all that Michelle is very outspoken. So as soon as she says that, Michelle raises her head and she's like, excuse me, not all of us are like that. I know I wouldn't do that. It was just, child. So after that, there were a couple teachers talking and it was like, oh no, her kid was just horrible. Like, no, like her kid was just like, and let's just talk. We're going to actually mention this one teacher that specifically said it. Her name is we're just going to call her Miss Jetson. Okay. She was one of the only very few white teachers at the school. There were no white teachers at the school. Like, I'm talking about, like, I could count on one hand how many there were. There was like maybe 4 or 5. Okay. Everybody else was black. That's why I thought like this would be a really positive experience. This would be something that I would like literally love to do because like it's my people here. You feel me? So we have Miss Jetson. Miss Jetson was sitting there talking all that shit. Oh, her kid was just horrible. I've had so many interactions with her, like, you know. And it's funny because Miss Jetson became the biggest ass kisser I've ever seen in my entire life at a job, in any setting. Okay, like she was doing any and everything as if she wasn't just a teacher. But I will say the way she was acting, and from what I heard from the grapevine, this is a rumor, cannot confirm nor deny. She probably is the only certified teacher there, which is probably why she did everything. Now you guys are probably like, Ivana, why would you think that she was the only teacher that was certified? Not only was she, as the kids say, dick rider, she also literally handled almost everything that was operational or leadership that no other teacher handled. And it just led me to believe maybe she's getting paid more than everyone else because she has her certification. But then we ended up talking to one of the other teachers, right? We're just going to call her Farah. Okay. Farah was one of the very few teachers that actually wanted to talk to us, that actually cared about like who we were, to be quite honest, and in essence. And she was like, yeah, like, I don't know about this anymore, but you know, I just came out of college. So it was like a really good opportunity. And we're all like, yeah, you know, we're fellows. It just kind of sucks that we're not getting paid as much as you teachers. And she was like, wait, how much are you getting paid? If we're asking, and we was like, oh, you know, we're getting paid $50K. I have no problem telling y'all that. $50K. $50K is absolutely nothing. I'll tell you right now, especially in New Jersey with this rent, the food prices or whatever, like $50K. And most of us had a master's. A lot of us had bachelor's and masters. So we're just like, yeah, we're getting paid $50K, mainly because, you know, we don't have our certifications. She looked at us like, I don't have my certification either. I'm getting paid $55. Now, what did I tell y'all? We was pointing to the sign, okay? Michelle specifically was pointing to the sign like, yo, we want our positions, but could they just add a little something? Make the 50-55. You're literally doing the same exact work as these teachers. This shit doesn't really even make any sense. Especially because like, where's our mentors at? Where's this? Where's all the shit that y'all promised? And this girl sitting here talking about something, she getting paid 55, smooth out of college. The math is not mathing. And I'm like, wait, you're not certified? No. Are you in a fellowship? No. Are you trying to get started? No. Upon digging, I'm not going to say no names, at least 7 of the teachers that I spoke to said, I don't have a cert. I'm not going to get a cert. For what? So now the math not mathing for real. All these teachers are hired directly through the school, not getting a certification, not trying to get a certification, not in a fellowship program. I'm thoroughly perplexed. So I'm sitting here just thinking to myself, what in the hell is actually going on here? Like, why are you guys basically paying us in indentured servitude? Meanwhile, these people who are not certified, just like we not certified, get paid more and do less work, because not only are we doing the same work as teachers, we also are expected to go to school and take these tests and have study days and all of this extra shit. So it's just like, like pay niggas fairly. Pay us fairly. This is not okay. Then we realized we were basically getting paid less than the substitutes. So Malachi actually was not part of the fellowship program, even though he basically was with us and came from the same company. He was a long-term sub, but he was getting paid slightly more than us, and he was getting paid weekly. Since we were on salary, we got paid a salary, and we got paid bi-weekly. Some of us were trying to tell him like, oh, you know, maybe he should do the fellowship program because he would get paid even when school was out. But to be quite honest with you, after all of this, I started telling him like, don't fucking do that shit. Stay where you at. Stay as a day-to-day. Stay as a long-term. Don't fucking do this because it's just not worth it. All in all, it's very interesting to look at this from a grand scheme and retelling the story, because all of it just genuinely wasn't fair. Teachers in general don't get paid enough, but when it comes to the substitutes, the long-term substitutes and the fellows, a lot of them take advantage, okay, of them not having certifications. But in a lot of cases, sometimes the subs do get paid more than the teachers, and sometimes they do get paid more than the fellows. And it just doesn't really add up. All of them should get paid exactly the same, because a lot of them are doing the same exact fucking work, especially when it comes to these charter schools where they don't even have the adequate tools to have legitimate teachers. So with that being said, we're just gonna leave that story here, because next we're gonna go into the chaotic first week of school and the shit that went down that really was just like, this is not legal. It really can't be. And it's not. For you guys to understand how bad this shit got, my eczema got so bad. Like so bad. My house, bro, like to this day, I still had boxes. I did not unpack from moving back here in July. I've been so tired, so busy, haven't had any time to myself because this job took like all my time, all my energy. And I would have been fine with that if one, they paid us what we were worth and actually gave us some sort of appreciation and had their ducks in a row. But none of this was true. All of this was a complete waste of time, and it just ended up making me extremely passionate about bringing these motherfuckers to justice. So with that being said, again, make sure you leave your comments down below. I would love to hear your experiences. Share this video with everyone you can. Like, share, subscribe, check out the merchandise. This is from my Media Hustle shop. Peep everything you need in the description box that you guys always ask me about down below. And I'm gonna see y'all next time. Bye!